Hey guys, it's Ryan with Cycle News, and today we have a fun video for you as we headed up to Torrance, California to visit our friends at American Honda. Today there was a big announcement as they unveiled their new American Honda Collection Hall. Now this is a museum that's located inside the main lobby at Honda, and it will be open to the public from now on. There's a ton of Honda history in the collection, from the first Honda cars and motorcycles, Acura cars, Indy cars, side-by-sides, Honda generators, lawnmowers, and a ton of racing memorabilia. But this is Cycle News, so you know we were there for the bikes. So I tracked down my buddy Colin Miller to give me a tour of the motorcycles that were on display during the unveiling. Hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Colin Miller with American Honda, and we're here at the all-new American Honda Collection Hall in Torrance, California. So, kind of give you guys a walk through history a little bit. You can see we're starting off here with the original Super Cub. So this model is one of the first models that Honda brought to the United States. Even to this day, it's still the highest mass-produced vehicle ever on the planet, over 100 million. So hey, everything else fails in comparison. So, and then as we move along, we start to get into some of our larger displacements. So this is starts off with the Dream. So really kind of one of the first larger displacement motorcycles that we produced and brought to the U.S. You really set kind of a style of that bike apart. You can see the flared fenders, the chrome side of the tank with the knee pads. I mean, the iconic part of the fin of the motor was really big for these models. Kind of our really popular small displacement bike. So Honda really started as a small displacement company, and bikes like the CB160 you can see here have a lot of those style features, but really provided a mass-produced vehicle that was really affordable to the average customer.
Now what kind of engine is in here?
So it's a 160 twin. 66 CL77 Scrambler. So really kind of the beginning of somewhat dual sport or adventure, right? This is the original adventure bike. You know, it was made, kind of started as a street bike in its DNA of the engine, but on the outside, it was made to go off-road. So made to tackle the trails, both street, on and off-road. And then you get to the CB750. So this bike really revolutionized the motorcycle industry. It really was a bike that provided kind of Honda reliability, but in a large displacement, higher power platform, and just kind of completely changed Honda and the motorcycle industry in general. Still to this day is one of the most iconic motorcycles. Then you get into kind of a section of our off-road lineup. So this is an original Elsinore 250. It's really Honda's first endeavor into pure motocross bikes. So really kind of set the stage of how we started getting into motocross, and actually won the title the first year with Gary Jones. So really cool endeavor we got into, and even to this day, right, our success we've had this year. So it's a really cool beginning to that tale. So and then here you have a ATC 90. So this is really when we started to jump into all-terrain vehicles, right? This is how ATVs started as three-wheelers. So the ATCs were kind of something that was a little bit easier for someone who was doesn't have the balance of a motorcycle, but really kind of started that off-road style segment of having a little more stability off-road. And you can see, I mean, it looks completely different from what you see today in ATVs, but really notable were the original, like these balloon tires that everybody talks about. There's a whole ATC revival going on right now, and that's a huge part of this.
Whole start.
Yeah.
It looks like some of the engines that we still have today, laid down.
Exactly, yeah. That iconic kind of 50, 90 motor, even to today, is nearly identical, right? We've made improvements over the years, but it's such a reliable motor and a big part of us. So this here you have the original Goldwing. So this really started the touring segment for us. We brought this model to market, and originally it had a slightly different purpose. It was kind of meant with this grand, not so much touring, but like high performance motorcycle. But customers started putting fairings on them and kind of evolving the bike as a large displacement touring bike. And then you can see later on what we did is we actually put the fairing on it, and now you see the Goldwing to today is it wouldn't be a Goldwing without the fairing, full protection, bags already on it. So this is how it originally started with the original Goldwing 1000. And then you can see kind of some of the other things that we delved into is this kind of crossed over between somewhat of a bicycle and a motorcycle, right? This is an express, so much like what we see with the kind of revival of the mini moto bikes today, this was kind of a mini moto of its day. Easy to ride, affordable, and you and people on the block had them, put it on your camper, take it around. So really kind of was a foundation for what we even see today in some of the other small displacement bikes.
The original mini moto.
And then this, we get into the CBX. So the CBX was really kind of a cool revolution in that it's a 6-cylinder. So straight across 6-cylinder. The original ad had a set of 4 cylinders, and then it kept going and showed another one and another one. So it was really kind of a complete shift from what engines that we had produced. And even to today, really iconic motorcycle. People really love to see it. It's got a huge following. But definitely unique.
Now I heard this one wasn't made for very long either.
Only a couple years, yeah. Sometimes we make these really cool bikes that maybe sometimes it's the wrong time and it becomes kind of a cult bike. And the CBX has a little bit of that cult status, right? You try to find one now and they're just crazy expensive, but really cool part of our history. Next you can see this is an MB5. So this was a 50cc, and it really had like kind of a unique cult history too, right? It was a small displacement, easy to ride bike, and it became where people would buy them in packs. I mean, there's, I think they even still do a race on the East Coast. It's not a race, it's a ride where a collection of MB5s get together and they all ride down the mountain. So really a cool part of our history. Something we didn't make for very long, but really excited to be able to show off kind of our old bike. And then next you can see this is the VFR 750 Interceptor, or actually this is a VF 750. But really storied history of our V4 engines, right? The V4 engine is a big part of Honda's history, and the VF and VFR line was a big part of that. And this is really how it started, kind of with this half fairing, and then later evolved into the full VFR line with full fairings, and even into some race ones, which we'll actually go to next. So then we come to the kind of storied RC30, right? Really one of the first homologation special bikes. This was a V4 that was primarily built for racing, right? Really limited quantities, and it was made to go win World Superbike titles and Superbike titles. So this bike has such an iconic look and story today. I mean, it has a single-sided swing arm, the paint scheme, everything. With this bike, that V4 engine really set it apart, and it was really meant to go dominate in racing series. So this one here is actually a really special bike in Honda's history. For those who don't know, this was kind of a complete exercise in what you can do for engineering. So this is an NR 750, which is an oval piston V4. So the piston is actually not what you typically think of a piston in a circle. The piston is actually an oval shape. So it was a complete ground up design and something totally unique. And even to this day, it has kind of this legend and lore in the motorcycle world and engineering world that someone could make a piston that wasn't the typical shape, something completely outside the box. So it really expressed kind of Honda's engineering prowess. CBR 600 F2, so really that 600 series sport bike that was extremely popular. Really a style that kind of took after all the race bikes that these evolved into, right? The AMA Superbike or Super Sport is what this would have been raced under. It was an extremely popular category in the 90s, and this really allowed that same style and level of performance to the average customer. 900 RR, so very much similar styling to the rest of our sport bikes, but larger displacement, right? There were kind of 2 tiers of displacement for most sport bikes, 600s and then 900 into 1000, and that is really where the 900 excelled. It was an amazing bike, a lot of technological changes when it came out, and really helped kind of spearhead our sport bike lineup. Come to kind of what a lot of customers refer to as kind of the pinnacle of Honda sport bike era in kind of late 90s, early 2000s was the RC51. So this bike was a V-twin, was a departure from our typical inline 4s, but it was really meant to go dominate World Superbike and AMA Superbike, which had displacements for V-twin differences. So this bike was really had its DNA founded in racing, but it was an extremely popular bike even to today. When you start this bike up, you know it's an RC51. That big thump
pumping V-twin, really just, I mean, it gets the blood flowing. You can feel it when you're riding. But an amazing bike, you know, won a lot of titles and something that's really cool for the history.
Next we come to is the Rune. So the Rune really started its life with the Goldwing engine, right? This is a GL 1800 motor. We took that platform and built kind of the ultimate power cruiser. But at the same time, we threw in completely unique features as part of it. So you can see the styling of the rear fender, the tank, the front end. I mean, every detail was thought about, and Mickey have here is kind of the touring version of what we just saw, right? This is the Goldwing 1800. So this is a 2010 version, but this bike was kind of, it still is the pinnacle of touring motorcycles, right? This is the previous generation, but really, you know, this bike was made for you to tour the country on, and not alone, right? Taking a passenger, loading all your stuff down, and really the kind of epitome of comfort, style, and but at the same time, it has a lot of performance. The engine, torque of the motor, really easy to ride all day, or even just back and forth to work. A lot of customers do all of those things with it. And even to today, with the more modern version of the Goldwing, it still is the pinnacle of touring bike and technology, what you can do to it and bring to it. Thank you guys for coming to the grand opening of the American Honda Collection Hall. It's something we're really excited to be able to showcase our history, be able to highlight all of our bikes from past to present.
All right, just a bit of audio difficulty here at the end, but just want to thank Colin and everyone at American Honda. This museum is awesome and it will be open to the public, so be sure to check it out next time you are near Torrance, California.